MeToo movement, which gained global prominence in late 2017, is a social and cultural movement focused on raising awareness about sexual harassment, assault, and abuse, particularly in the workplace and other areas of public life. It aims to empower individuals, especially women, to share their experiences, challenge harmful power dynamics, and hold perpetrators accountable. The movement has significantly influenced public conversations, politics, and the media, inspiring similar movements in various countries and affecting changes in policies and practices related to gender equality, workplace culture, and legal protections for survivors. Origins and evolution of Me Too. The roots of the Me Too movement can be traced back to the experiences of many individuals, particularly women, who have long endured sexual harassment and abuse. While the hashtag itself gained prominence in 2017, the movement was not entirely new. The phrase Me Too was coined by social activist Tarana Burke in 2006. Burke, who was working with young women in underserved communities, used the phrase to offer support to survivors of sexual violence and to foster solidarity. She aimed to create a space for women of color, particularly those in marginalized communities, to share their stories and find healing. However, it wasn't until actress Alyssa Milano used the hashtag MeToo in response to the sexual misconduct allegations against Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein in October 2017 that the movement exploded into the global consciousness. Milano, who had been speaking out about sexual harassment and abuse in the entertainment industry, encouraged others to use the hashtag to share their own experiences. This act of solidarity triggered a flood of social media posts from millions of women and some men who revealed their personal stories of sexual harassment, assault, and abuse. The hashtag quickly went viral as individuals from all walks of life used it to communicate their stories, often accompanied by poignant statements of outrage and calls for change. It became a powerful symbol of the widespread nature of sexual violence and the need for a collective response. The Harvey Weinstein scandal and its aftermath. The allegations against Harvey Weinstein served as the catalyst for the Me Too movement's rapid expansion. In October 2017, investigative journalists Ronan Farrow and Jodi Kantor published an explosive report in the New York Times detailing decades of sexual harassment and assault allegations against Weinstein. The report included testimonies from several high-profile actresses, including Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie, and Ashley Judd, who shared their personal experiences of harassment by the powerful producer. Following the publication of the article, dozens of other women came forward to accuse Weinstein of similar misconduct. Weinstein, who was one of the most influential figures in Hollywood, was eventually fired from his company, expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and faced criminal charges. In 2020, he was convicted of rape and sexual assault, marking a significant moment in the movement's trajectory. Weinstein's downfall brought the systemic nature of sexual abuse in the entertainment industry into the public spotlight. It also prompted other industries to reckon with their own issues related to harassment and discrimination, as women in various fields began to share their stories as well. Intersectionality in the Me Too movement. One of the most significant aspects of the Me Too movement is its focus on intersectionality, which acknowledges that people's experiences of sexual harassment and assault are shaped not only by gender, but also by race, class, sexuality, and other social factors. The movement has, therefore, called attention to the unique challenges faced by women of color, LGBTQ individuals, disabled people, and other marginalized groups when it comes to experiencing and reporting sexual violence. Although the mainstream narrative of Me Too has often focused on high-profile cases in industries like entertainment and politics, the movement has also highlighted the struggles of working-class women, immigrants, and those in lower-income or less visible jobs who experience sexual harassment but may feel less empowered to speak out. For example, many low-wage workers, such as those in retail or service industries, face sexual harassment but lack the financial stability or access to legal resources needed to challenge powerful employers or colleagues. The Me Too movement has created a platform for these often overlooked voices to be heard. Tarana Burke, who coined the phrase Me Too, has emphasized the importance of centering the experiences of survivors from marginalized communities. She has argued that the movement must be inclusive and prioritize the voices of those who have historically been silenced or ignored. As the movement has grown, it has increasingly highlighted the voices of women of color, trans women, and others who have faced intersecting forms of oppression. Impact on politics and legal frameworks. The MeToo movement has had a significant impact on political discourse, legal frameworks, and public policies related to sexual harassment, assault, and gender equality. It has led to legislative changes and heightened accountability for those in positions of power. In the United States, the movement helped prompt changes to workplace policies, with many companies revising their sexual harassment training programs and strengthening their reporting mechanisms. Several states introduced or strengthened laws aimed at preventing sexual harassment in the workplace, and lawmakers in Congress debated reforms to the legal system that would better protect survivors of sexual violence. Moreover, the MeToo movement catalyzed the rise of women's political power. It emboldened women to run for office, speak out about their own experiences, and demand systemic change. The 2018 midterm elections in the United States saw a significant increase in the number of women elected to political office, many of whom ran on platforms focused on gender equality, sexual harassment prevention, and women's rights. Figures like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Kamala Harris became prominent voices in the movement for gender justice, bringing issues of sexual harassment and assault into legislative debates. Globally, the movement sparked similar responses in other countries. In France, the Balance ton porc, Expose Your Pig campaign gained traction, with women sharing their stories of harassment in the workplace and other spaces. In India, the MeToo movement led to a wave of allegations against powerful figures in the entertainment and media industries, prompting conversations about the treatment of women in the country's film industry, also known as Bollywood. The legal ramifications of the MeToo movement are still unfolding. In many countries, survivors have faced legal barriers when attempting to seek justice, such as difficult evidentiary standards, lengthy legal processes, and fear of retaliation. However, in the wake of MeToo, there has been increased scrutiny on laws related to sexual harassment and assault, as well as growing calls for reforms to make it easier for survivors to come forward and hold perpetrators accountable. Criticism and backlash. While the MeToo movement has been a force for change, it has also faced criticism and backlash, particularly from those who argue that it undermines due process or that it has gone too far in its pursuit of justice. Some have raised concerns that the movement encourages false accusations, or that it disproportionately punishes individuals without due consideration for their side of the story. Additionally, some argue that the movement's focus on high-profile cases and its association with the entertainment industry has made it seem out of touch with the everyday experiences of women in less visible or privileged sectors. Critics have argued that more attention needs to be paid to the experiences of marginalized communities, who often face greater barriers to speaking out. Furthermore, the backlash to the MeToo movement has led to the emergence of counter-narratives like the Men Too movement, which claims that men can also be victims of sexual harassment or assault. While it is important to acknowledge that men, too, can experience sexual violence, some critics argue that these counter-narratives detract from the core issues of gendered violence and the need to address the systemic nature of sexual harassment and abuse. The ongoing fight for justice. While the MeToo movement has created significant momentum in the fight against sexual harassment and violence, there is still much work to be done. The movement's successes have helped to shift public perception and raise awareness about the prevalence of sexual harassment and assault, but systemic change will require continued effort from individuals, organizations, and governments alike. There is a need for greater support systems for survivors, including more accessible legal resources, better workplace policies, and comprehensive education on consent and sexual violence. The MeToo movement has also underscored the importance of creating a culture of accountability, where perpetrators are held responsible for their actions and survivors are treated with dignity and respect. In conclusion, The MeToo movement has been a watershed moment in the global fight against sexual harassment and assault, empowering individuals to speak out and demanding systemic changes to protect survivors. While there have been challenges and setbacks, the movement has sparked a cultural shift that is reshaping the way societies understand and address sexual violence. The continued success of the movement will depend on its ability to remain inclusive, intersectional, and focused on creating lasting change for all survivors.